should be connecting. And you can go back. Okay, there you go. Start my counter. Be a little early, which is fine. Okay, 8 o'clock. Get your music.
Here we go. Oh, my, my, my. Oh, yeah. There you go. My nights has gone and laying on and makes me go. Be afraid, no, I won't be afraid. Just as long as I just stand here. So come on, turn and stand. Oh, stand by in the sky. We look stand by me. So darling, darling, stand by me, stand by me. Check it out, we're gonna break it down like this. Here we stand by me, stand by me. Oh, whenever you're in trouble,
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another live streaming talk show of Let's Talk About It. As you know, a lot is going on in and around our nation, and we are happy that you have joined with us this evening. Do me a favor. I want you to share this uh, talk show tonight. I want you to like it, and then we want you to comment. Those who are watching by way of YouTube, we want you to hit the bell, set the toggle switch so that you can be notified every week when we come on, and also notify other folk and let them know that we are talking about issues that are relevant. We have a special guest with us tonight, and we're happy that he's sharing with us, and we'll bring him in just a moment. As you know, we are always trying to be relevant to the community and issues that face us. We are dealing with racial injustice, and tonight our show is about the statement or the question or the proposal of defunding the police department. Is that really what we want to do? That's really going to be the topic tonight. We know there's a lot of conversation about that, but we're going to jump right into it because our guest has won't be able to stay with us the entire time. But let me bring in our co-host, Dr. Davis. Dr. Davis, welcome to another issue of Let's Talk About It.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate being on with you again. And I'm excited to hear from your friend because once again, we're dealing with so many different issues here in the nation alone. And it's just amazing how the world is just turning upside down at this moment.
Yes, sir. There are a lot of things going on, and we have to be mindful of that. We know the funeral, the final memorial service was held for Brother Floyd. And so that has taken place. And we also want to talk a little bit about tonight the bill that was introduced into Congress. That bill is, for those who want to research it, is HR 7120. Once again, it's HR 7120. It is the bill that's introduced that's entitled Justice in Policy or Policing Act of 2020. That's Justice in Policing Act 2020. And so we'll talk about that a little more. But let me invite and bring in our guest, a young man that I had the opportunity to meet by way of email on last week, and about a youth rally that was held in Towson. Mr. Ruben Amaya. Mr. Amaya, welcome to Let's Talk About It.
Thank you for having me, Reverend.
All right. For those who don't know, Mr. Amaya hosted a youth rally in Towson this past week, right at the Court Square in the Towson area. And we went out and shared with him. He had a nice gathering. For those who have access to our to our YouTube channel, I did upload some of the video that we captured at that event. And he had leaders there, speakers there. Johnny O, the Baltimore County executive, was there. A couple of the council persons was there. He had some intelligent speakers from the youth, college graduates that was there. And so, Mr. Maya, first of all, I want to thank you for putting on a wonderful event.
Thank you.
Tell us how did that come about? Whose idea was it, and how did you pull it together?
Yeah, so this was an idea I had literally a week before Tuesday. So last Tuesday, it was an idea that popped in my head. Just seeing on the news over the past week and last week, all the protests, and I really just asked myself, how can I contribute? What can I do to help? And I realized the best way is to try to get my peers together, because when you really look at it, at the end of the day, I really believe that it is my generation that really has to pick up the pieces of the failed leadership in our country. And so that day I typed up an email and I asked if I could get permission to hold a rally at Patriot Plaza. And then within a week, I had a week to mobilize community leaders, student leaders, and try to get people to come. And I was really excited with the turnout, just seeing everyone come together. It was really nice seeing democracy in action.
Well, I think that what you have done has been echoed throughout the United States and around the world, really. And listen, would you consider yourself to be a millennial or a Generation X, a Generation Y, or which one?
So I think the term is Generation Z for us below the millennials. So we're really the youngest generation right now. So Generation Z, really.
Okay. All right. So how did you get those persons together? How did you do you have a database? Do you have a group? Are you all organized, or you just put it out there on social media and folk just started responding? Tell us how that happened.
Yeah. So for the past 4 years in my high school career, I was involved in a lot of student organizations, community organizations that just allowed me to have these connections already with not just the peers that were speaking, but also with the community leaders. Cheryl Pastor, for example, I worked with her last year representing the students to the Board of Ed. Johnny Olszewski has been a huge partner with students in Baltimore County. So I was able to establish a relationship with him beforehand. And the peers that you heard, like Omar Rashid, the student member on the board, Halima Adekoya, who was the former student member of the board, and the other students who were speaking, all those relationships I just had. And I knew that these people were the ones that needed to elevate their voices on this platform to resonate with the peers that were there at the rally.
All right. Now, at the rally, tell us about, for those who were not there, some of
Mhm.
the things that you talked about, and what was your main objective from this rally.
Yeah. So the main goal of the rally was really to bring the youth together in this county and ask ourselves, what can we do to act? It's really easy to say to act, and as I'm sure you know, it's easier said than done, right?
Yeah.
So for high schoolers and college students, we want to act, but sometimes we just don't know how, and we're not always given the tools and resources from the higher ups on how we can do that. So the goal of this rally was to mobilize as many young people and bring those leaders from the higher ups and try to not just inspire, but also empower and motivate. And with the student peers there, those students who are our age in those high leadership roles, also explaining to our peers, how can you act? What can you do in your schools? What can you do in your neighborhoods and in your communities? And so hopefully the whole message of the rally was to try to say, that we can act, that even though you are younger than 18 or that you are still a young adult, you have a voice, you have a say, you are a citizen, and you can do something in this country.
Well, I tell you, do you think that you were a success?
Uh, that I'm a success or that the rally was a
That the
success?
rally was a success?
I think it was a great success. Yes.
I would agree with you, and I want to also give you a word of encouragement to keep on doing what you're doing. Don't quit, don't stop. You're about a good work, and somebody's watching, somebody's taking note, somebody's paying attention. But I think, it was interesting that you used the word mobilize.
Hmm.
What I am doing, I'm in the process of completing what I'm calling a master plan of action. The master plan of action has 5 components.
Hmm.
Those 5 components, first one is galvanize. In order for us to be effective to do anything, the first thing that we have to do is galvanize, which means we have to pull people together,
Right.
which you have started doing. The second component of that is, then once you get folk together, you then have to organize them. Because if we don't have organization, we have chaos.
Exactly.
Okay? So that's the second component. The third component is, once you get folk organized, then you have to strategize. You have to come up with a workable plan that offers a clear, concise mental picture of what it is that we want to do and what our objective is. How does that sound so far?
That sounds good so far.
Okay. Point number 4 would be what you spoke about. You have to immobilize. That means we have to mobilize folk to be able to accomplish those objectives that we have established once we have come up with a strategy. And then the fifth component is, we have to exercise, which means now we have to do what we said we were going to do. Those are the 5 components of what I'm calling the master plan, that we're going to break down each one of those components as it relates to what needs to happen, what should happen, and how it should happen. And we're going to present that to our legislative leaders. Now, what I would like to do is offer to you um, our support, our help, our encouragement, anything that we can do to help you along the way. Do you have any plans to formally organize your group?
So right now, what I'm doing is continue working with my peers any way that I can help them. I know a lot of peers in around the state. They're advocating to their board of education. I'm not sure if you saw one student. He had a petition there at the rally,
Yes,
and
I
getting
did see him.
yeah, and so that petition was to present to the Board of Ed to have more African American history in our curriculum, try to reform the curriculum so that it reflects what actual African American history is. And so peers like that, just encourage them, showing them how the intricacies of how the Board of Ed works, things like that. So yeah, so all around what we're doing is just helping our peers as much as we can, helping each other, being there for each other, because that's what it's all about. Like you said, it's easier said than done. And so what we're doing is just using our knowledge of everything that we've done in different organizations and just helping each other out so that we can act and follow through with what we're saying.
Do you guys have any plans to do anything further, or what's next for your group?
So right now, we just finished the rally, so we're going to see what more we can do. But right now, what we want to do is now do the action part, right? So we've had our voices heard, and so what we want to do is exactly like you said: speak up to our legislative leaders, speak up to our school officials. What can we do if there's a climate that is uncomfortable for our peers, and how can we change that climate, that stigma, and actually make the effective change that needs to be had?
All right. Now, do you all do anything, or have you run into any encounters so far as being able to fund anything that you're trying to accomplish? Or what type of funding are you receiving, or how is that coming about?
Yeah, so right now there is no funding. It's not really an official group. Really, that rally was just myself and peers coming together to come together and see how we can help our other peers. But right now, we're not receiving any funding, or it's not really in an official capacity. Really, what that rally was is just trying to mobilize our peers together and then affecting action through that method.
Okay. Again, I want to offer my assistance to you and to your group to help you all to do and fulfill those 5 components that we talked about, and incorporate you all into what we are currently doing. I will send you an email, and I'm hoping that we can partner together. We have two rallies that are coming up. One will be on the last Sunday of this month. It'll be June the 28th. And because of social distancing, we're not going to do a march type. We're going to do a roll along. And we're going to actually go through the city and stop at several locations. And we will have some type of demonstration. And then where we end up, we will have like a little short rally, but I'm hoping that we can get the youth involved, because as we know, it takes young people. I don't want to say I'm old, but certainly I'm not quite as young as you all are. But what we would like to do is have you all partner with us, if possible, to involve in that. And then also here in Baltimore County, in the Woodlawn area, there is a demonstration planned for July the 4th. I am working with another pastor, and actually we were out at Baltimore County on yesterday applying for the permit to be able to do what we're going to do. So at Roland Road and Milford Mill Road, we're going to do a demonstration on July the 4th in the afternoon. The time, I believe, is scheduled around 4 p.m. So it would be wonderful if we can get your group to join in with us for that, as well as the roll along on the last Sunday in this month. And I will shoot you information about that. Dr. Davis, is there any questions that you have for Mr. Amaya?
Yes. First of all, hello, Mr. Maya.
Hello, sir.
I just want to commend you, first of all, on doing an excellent job. I want to commend you on the work that you're doing. And I think more young people ought to be involved in it. Hopefully, they will. my question is, I know that we do have a lot going on, but I
Mhm.
once again think you're on the right track. Um, we're pushing voter registration, and I don't know if you're involved with uh, getting that through um, your group and everything, but we are pushing that. We are trying to support everything we can. And I'm going along with Pastor Mason, Elder Mason, on the things that he's doing. So whatever you're involved in, let us know. We'd like to be a part of that to support you as well.
Thank
But
you.
yeah, but you said that it was a success that you had it, and I want to know in what way was it a success? Did the people respond back to you? Those people that were there, did they give you a respond and tell you what an excellent job it was, and everything was something? Was there something said? That's what I'm trying to find.
Yeah. So yeah, after the event, a lot of the students who were there, they came up to me and told me that they appreciated it, and they actually took something from it. In terms of voter registration, we had the NAACP there. They had a table set up, and we had a few students register to vote. So that was a big thing that we appreciated. That those students took the time to exercise their right to vote and register to do that. But yeah, a lot of my peers came up and told me that they took something out of it, that they learned something from it, and they were actually inspired to do something about what was going on in their communities.
That's good. That's good. Well, like I said, I really want to encourage you. And at any time that we can do anything, let us know, Mason and myself. Let us know. We like to support because I think it's a great thing that you're doing. And
Thank
once again, somebody as young as you could have been doing something else, but once again, you're pulling people together, especially your peers and what generation is that? The generation?
you.
I'm just trying to get clarification. I'm old. I don't know what generation I'm in anymore, but that Z generation, that's the generation that's going to really get things moving here in America. I can see that happening with a lot of young folks because I think a lot of young folks are now at the point they're really tired of the nonsense and the craziness that's going on. And I really think they're really stepping up to the plate to get
Yeah.
things done. So I want to commend you again and keep up the good work.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Now, right before you go, we know you've got something else that you've got to do, but our topic tonight is talking about the big hoopla about defunding the police department. Right.
Right.
So, where do you stand on that issue? You and the young people, where do you all stand on that?
Yeah, so it's a two-sided issue even with young people because I have peers who say defund the police, and then I hear peers who say no, let's not defund the police. Really, what it is honestly what it comes down to is that we have to hold police departments accountable. We are the taxpayers, and we must hold the police departments accountable. The way I see it is those funds need to be reformed so that police departments can approach the public in a holistic and community-based approach. If, for example, if there's a domestic violence dispute, instead of having 10 officers approach that home, why not have someone who works in social services and have a social worker approach that person and someone who's trained in that field? I think that that's a lot of the outcry that people are saying when you say defund the police. Just having specialized people in certain situations respond to certain things, right? Crime is predictable, so it's very easy for police departments to have those specialized departments and seeing what they can do in certain situations. But yeah, even with the young people, it's a divided topic on whether we should defund the police or not defund the police. But honestly, what it comes down to is just we have to hold the police departments accountable and making sure that when they respond to a call or when they respond to an incident, it's based on a holistic and community-based approach.
Well, you've said a mouthful right there, and I am with you. I do not believe that we need to get rid of the police department. Certainly, we can see what the numbers are as far as crime and statistics right now with the police department. Can you imagine what they would be without it?
Yeah.
So I am not in favor of dismantling the police department. What I am in favor of is reallocating funding, like you were saying, to enhance the work of the department by bringing in other aspects, like you said. In fact, even today, right now, in certain situations when there's child abuse and that sort of thing, other persons are contacted from Department of Social Services. I've got friends who work for the Department of Social Services, and they are dispatched on certain locations when there's issues that relates to child abuse and abuse of seniors and that sort of thing. So it's not like they don't already have access to it, and it's not like they don't have persons who are on call. They got persons that are working 24 hours a day that
Right.
they can reach out to get to come and be dispatched to locations. However, we have to have that kind of conversation with the department and even with our leaders of the county and leaders of the city to understand these are the things that we would like to see incorporated in the decision making. The other thing that I think, and we're going to work on this even further, that I think ought to happen is uh, a more powerful or effective citizen review board. We're working on putting something together for that. I know in the past they have had some. I'm not sure how long they've been in place or if they are still in place. But I think whenever there is oversight and persons who are outside of the immediate conglomerate that can look at the scenario and the situation and bring truth and accountability there, I think it would give credence and credibility to the whole program. The bottom line is we have to be involved to be able to hold others accountable. And so the fact that what we are doing now, as far as having this conversation, talking about it, having rallies, it is wonderful. But what I have said is, what are we going to do after the rallies? What are we going to do after we march? What are we going to do after we protest? There has to be some other things that has to come into place. And so what I'm suggesting is just like I use this as a scenario and maybe you can tell me whether you like this scenario or not. Gunpowder, gunpowder by itself, if you pour it out on the ground and you light it, it will fizzle and sparkle. It has a lot of energy,
Mhm.
but by itself, it doesn't have any power. But if you take that gunpowder and put it in a cylinder and put a lead cap on it, compress it together, it now becomes a bullet. It now has power. So what we've been seeing is a lot of energy. So we've got to take that energy and channel it into power. What do you
Exactly.
think about that scenario?
That's a good scenario. I exactly agree.
So really what I'm trying to do is to be some type of facilitator, some type of a supporter to one again. Go back to our 5 points to galvanize people together, like yourself and other leaders that we're doing things. Listen, none of us can do it by ourselves.
Right.
It takes all
Exactly.
of us to do it. And I want to once again commend you on what you've done and how you've done it. I want to thank you for being able to share. That's our little hand clap of thanks there that we give you for
Thank you. I
sharing
appreciate it.
with us to let you know that you are appreciated. And the good
Thank
thing is you're about a good work. And we want you to know, Dr. Davis and myself, and even our listeners that are watching, if you would like to, we want to put your contact information up. You can reach Brother Meyer by way of his Instagram. That information is there on the screen, and he has a Twitter feed. That information is there on the screen. And to our listeners, those who are watching, please reach out to him, even if it's nothing more than to encourage him, and let him know that what he's doing is a great work. And so, Mr. Amaya, we want you to stay in touch with us. I'm going to stay in touch with you.
Absolutely.
Certainly, we've got listeners, we've got followers, we've got viewers that are watching, and we want to support you.
Thank
because
you. I
along
appreciate it.
this road, you're going to need some support.
Yep.
You're going to need some financial support. You're going to need some moral support. You're going to need some folk that will be able to help you. You all may want to go do something, and as young people, everybody may not have cars, so we may need to get a bus for you all to help you to go to Washington or go to Annapolis or something like that. I want you to know whatever we can do. And I'm not saying that we have an open bank account. But I'm saying whatever we can do to assist you or to help you, because you all are on the right track. And I want you to know I appreciate the work that you've done. And
Thank you.
anytime that we can help you and support you, we want you to know. Just reach out to us and let us know. But certainly, I will get information to you regarding those two events that are coming up. Is there any final words you want to give to our viewing audience?
Um, just want to thank you, Reverend, for the support. I absolutely appreciate it. And just to harp on what you said, absolutely, now we're at the stage where, what can we do to act? So, to anyone watching or when you keep discussing this, just think about what you can do to act. And it can be a small act, but it's all those small steps that lead to the bigger picture.
You are so correct. So correct. So we say thank you. Keep up the good work. And certainly we are on every Thursday evening at 8 p.m. In fact, on next week, we have Senator Dolores Kelly that is scheduled to be with us. And the following week, I believe Johnny O is going to be with us. Next month, we already have scheduled attorney A. Dwight Pettit is already scheduled. We've got some other folk that have already committed to being a part of us. We're just trying to work scheduling out. And so, certainly, anytime you get a chance, tune in to us. You can watch us either on Facebook or you can watch us on YouTube. We are streaming live on both channels. And certainly, you have our email address, you have my phone number, and certainly you can reach out and give me a call at any time, day or night. And so, if I can help you, you've got a friend. All right?
Thank you. I appreciate it, Reverend.
Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thank you, you too, sir.
All
Have a
right.
good one.
Have a great day. All right, Dr. Davis, they want to know whether or not to defund the police department.
Well, my thoughts are no, we don't want to defund the police department. I do believe that the police department needs to be trained over,
Okay.
or go to a training session every maybe 6 months or once a year. Go to a training session, and I say that because during my years of playing football, and you out there on the field and you getting hyped, and your adrenaline is pumping and everything, and sometimes when you're not thinking, you're hitting people the wrong way, or you're doing things, and once again, because your adrenaline is pumping, and everything is just moving, and sometimes it's hard to get it down. And so a couple of times they would tell me, the coach would call me and say, Big Joe, come over here on the side, stay over here and calm down, because I'm ready to hurt somebody. Especially when a referee gives me a foul call or something like that, and I'm saying, no, that wasn't a foul call. And I'm ready to hit somebody else when the play starts. So what I'm saying is sometimes you gotta calm it down. You know what I'm saying? And I think that'll be good when you come to the police department, because you need somebody. Now, at George Floyd's incident, you had 4 cops there, and nobody told the young man, get off his neck, calm down. You know what I'm saying? Somebody should have been the adult to say,
I disagree
hey,
with you,
calm
Dr.
down.
Dr.
Get
Davis,
off the man's neck.
I disagree with you. I disagree with you.
All right.
You said no one told the young man to get off his neck. And there were
Right.
several people that told him to get off his neck.
Not the police department.
You didn't say that. You didn't say no police officer.
Not the well.
You
They're
said
the
no
wait
one.
a minute. They're the one in charge.
Well, all I'm
They're the
saying
one in
is,
charge. Every bystander is not in charge.
no, you're right. You're right.
Right. So it's not up to the people outside. It's up to those 4 officers
Well,
because they're the ones in charge.
here's what I
I
say.
can stand on the side. All I want to say, get off his neck. They're gonna ask me who I think I am because they're the one in charge.
My issue was that they were informed. That's what I'm saying. I understand, and you are 100% right. Authority trumps persons who are not in authority.
Exactly.
You know, so here's what I'm saying. Along the lines, we have to have accountability. And those
Right.
who are in authority have to be accountable. I'm accountable for my
Exactly. Exactly.
You are accountable for your actions.
Exactly.
So therefore, we all have to have accountability. Now you talked about
Exactly.
training. I know that the police department, just like the fire department at some points, have something called in-service training.
Right.
They do in-service training. I don't know exactly what the schedule is and how frequent that it's done. And perhaps that's something that we have to look at and address. But I do know that they do in-service training, especially because they have to, every so often, they have to qualify to be able to keep their firearms.
Right.
So they have in-service training. They have to do that. Uh, when I was in the fire department, we had to go and be retrained or recertified because, especially for those of us who are doing EMT work, we were certified emergency medical technicians. And the laws and the rules were changing as it relates to how to do what we call effective CPR and how to do
Right.
primary patient assessment, how to do a secondary patient assessment. And so, because the EMS, the emergency medical system as a whole, kept rewriting the rules, when new rules came down or were put in place, we had to go out to be retrained. We would go, our day at work was at the academy. We had to go to the academy for what they called in-service training. Now, along with in-service training, the major part of that is what's being trained.
Right.
What's being trained? And so these techniques that they're using to deal with perpetrators or affect arrest and all of that, these chokeholds and all of that, we have to look at the training that's going on. We have to look at the techniques that are being used. They've got a part of this bill, for those who don't know about it. In this bill, this HR 7120, this bill has 14 titles, Dr. Davis. 14.
All right.
It's got 14 titles in this bill. Not only does it have 14 titles, but the bill is broken down into several components.
Okay.
All right. The first title is called Police Accountability.
Okay.
The very first title in this bill, Police Accountability. And then they break that down into subtitles. The first subtitle under that, subtitle A, is Holding Police Accountable in the Courts.
Right.
Holding police accountable in the courts, and they've got 5 areas. This bill, I have it. It's 51 pages.
Okay.
51 pages that talks about when you hold a police accountable in the court system, because they were saying it's difficult and has been difficult down through the years to prosecute police because of the protection that they have had
That's right.
in their society.
That's right. That's right.
This code of ethics that they have. I'm familiar with this code of ethics. Believe me, As
Yeah.
most of you all would know, I'm retired from the Baltimore City Fire Department. Fire department has a code of ethics. And then
Right.
there's the ethics that the fire department and the police department have with each other.
Right.
So I'm familiar with that code, and you hear folk talk about that thin blue line or the blue shield and all that kind of stuff. You know, what we saw with Brother Floyd was we had a senior officer who was initiating an act of violence, an act that led to murder. And
Exactly.
the other officers, just as you said, did not do enough. And the reason that I say enough, and I'll explain that in just a minute, did not do enough to prevent George from dying. And the reason I said they didn't do enough, because one of the officers, and I believe it was the one that had been on the force for just a couple of days, he did ask, should we turn him over on his side?
Right.
So he did do something, but what he did was not enough.
Okay.
That's why, see, I like to deal with something that I call wordology.
Okay.
I like to deal with words. So we can't say nobody did nothing. Yes, something was done, but what was done was not enough. It's not enough. And so these bills that have been enacted and have been legislated, and you've got bills that are being put in all over, and departments are being challenged all over, and new reforms is coming down. The question that really we need to look at is what they are saying, is that really enough? And in most cases, it's probably not.
Right.
It's probably not. It's a step in the right direction, but it's not enough. But then here's the
Right.
problem. Here's one of the problems I have, Dr. Davis. Are you ready for this?
Yes, sir.
I know, and then I know. Some things get up under my skin. Some things get me riled up, get me worked up, get me fired up. I know these officers that were a part of that police force that resigned
Yeah.
that task force. First of
Yeah.
all, first of all, from my understanding, when you are placed on a task force, you don't have the option to resign.
Right.
But they did. They resigned from the task force. And then to take it a step further, you had officers that quit.
Right.
And to make matters worse, an article came out about a law enforcement agency, I believe it was in Florida, that said any officers that quit because they felt they were being unjustly treated can come to Florida and they would hire them. The hell listen, Dr. Davis, how are you going to hire somebody that you know already has a racial problem? How are you going to
Right.
hire unless you yourself have a problem?
Well, they themselves is a racist.
No, what you say?
I said they themselves are racist. Anytime you're going to hire somebody who have committed a crime or somebody on the department, and now they have been charged and people are quitting because they feel unjustly unjustly dealt with, that they're going to quit and then say, I'm going to move to Florida. What I'm saying is the person who's inviting them is a racist and he wants them down there.
Well, it's not just a person, it has to be an organization. It has to be a firm. Now, I don't know whether it's a private detective agency. I don't know what type of organization it is, but I do know it has something to do with law enforcement. And they put out the notice that if you quit your job because you feel you are being unfairly treated and asked to do right when you feel you shouldn't be, come to us. We'll hire you. Now, that takes a lot of gall.
Yes, sir. You see, you got to understand that, and I'm saying this because once again, racial guys and those white supremacy groups or KKK or onion heads, whatever you call themselves, these people stick together and they're looking for people that's like them. That's what they're looking for. And once again, when you have a president who is telling people, telling the police rather, don't be easy with these guys. When you put them in the car, hit their head up against the car and all that kind of dumb stuff. I mean, this is what your president says. So now you got folk out here
Dr. Davis.
that's in charge of states.
Dr. Davis.
He said, yeah, we'll take them on. We'll bring them on down here.
Dr. Davis.
Yes.
Dr. Davis.
Yes, sir.
You said my president? Is that what you said?
Oops. Oops. I'm sorry. Did I say that?
Dr. Davis.
I might have. Might have. Please forgive me.
He is listed as the president of the United States. But I challenge you that we in this states are not united.
Okay.
Even his own cabinet members and former cabinet members have come out on public record and said he is doing more to divide this country than bring us together. And the hell I am going to acknowledge him as my president. I'll call him what other people have called him, number 45. But I'll be damned if I'm going to call him my president. I didn't vote for him. I don't care for him. And I certainly hope that the day after he gets put out of office, that they do exactly what he chanted in his rallies. Lock him up, lock him up, lock him up for all the wrong things that he has done. I think something needs to be done about it. And until we get up off our lazy asses and start doing something and empowering ourselves and our people to make radical changes, yes, demonstrate, but don't destroy. Don't tear nothing up. Don't burn nothing down. Don't hurt nobody, but demonstrate. Let folk know that we are tired. Not only are we tired, but we are sick and tired. Not only are we sick and tired, but we are sick and tired of being sick and tired.
I agree with you.
We got to do something. And for those,
I agree with you, sir.
Those who say, well, now ain't the time. Well, if now ain't the time, tell me when the time is. Folk are dying, men and women. They ain't just killing men, they killing women too.
Yes, sir.
Time when? Now is the time. We got young people. We got older folk that are rallying. We got middle folk that are rallying. And now we've got other races. We have other Caucasians that have joined us. We have Latinos that have joined us. We have the Indian reservations that have joined us. We've got Vietnamese and Koreans and Japanese that have joined us. We've got every state in this colony a part of demonstration. And we have over 13 countries around this world. You tell me now ain't the time? The hell it ain't. This is the time for us to do something.
Absolutely.
Get up on
absolutely
ass and do something. I hope you voted this past election, because if you didn't vote, shame on you. You can't sit on the sideline and talk about the problems if you're not helping to be part of the solution. That's why
absolutely
one of our platforms for this talk show is voting. Voting is one of our platforms. You can register to vote. You don't even have to do it in person. You can go online right from your cell phone, your smart cell phone, or you can go online right from your computer, your laptop, your desktop, and you can register to vote. As you heard earlier, we're putting together a master plan. And this master plan includes working on getting individuals in place that we can place legislative leaders who are not listening to the cry of the people, who are not paying us any attention, who are not giving their ear to our concerns. And here's my message to you. Be careful, because this might be the last time that you are in office. We are going to put people in place, and we are going to vote you out. But I
Yes,
can't.
sir.
You can't do it. We can't do it if you're not registered to vote. So I encourage you, if you're not registered, get registered, because we've got an election coming up. And in the
Yes,
meantime,
sir.
we are galvanizing people together. In the meantime, we're going to organize our people that we galvanize. In the meantime, when we get them organized, we're going to strategize and come up with a plan. Once we get this plan together, we're going to immobilize ourselves so that we can be effective. And once we do that, we're going to exercise our rights. We're going to exercise our plan. We're going to exercise our commitment, because we are tired of the same old, same old. Now is the time. You better say something, Dr. Davis. I'm getting a little worked up.
Yes, sir. I'm in agreement with you, and I want you to know that once again, Stacey Abrams was on the talk show the other day, not on talk show, but on the news conference the other day. She was talking about, amen, we've got to make a change. We've got to get folks registered, because that's the only way this thing's going to happen. She's already said Trump is already up to his tricks already. He's already playing these games of what he's trying to do to get reelected. The Republican Party secretly pushing people to register to vote. And what I'm saying is they're doing it secretly because they don't want people to know that they're trying to galvanize people to come together in the Republican Party. They're trying to get all these evangelicals back on board, because a lot of them have said no, they're not going with Trump this time, because he's just completely out of order and he has so much chaos. So he's doing things to try to influence the evangelicals. That's why he went over to the church, held the Bible up backwards, and stood there like he knew what he was talking about, because he's looking for those 2 Corinthians that he first talked about when he first went into office. Once again, they're trying to do things right now, and we have to come together and make sure people are registered to vote. And I apologize for calling him your president. I was kind of hyped at the moment, and it just slipped out, but it's okay. I know he's not your president, but I just want you to know, I'm upset. I'm mad. Well, y'all know I've been mad with this mess, because I get tired of this president, this knucklehead, saying things out of his mouth that he shouldn't be saying, and doing things against the American people. The very people that he stood and took the oath that he will serve and protect the people of the United States. And this man doesn't understand the oath that he took, and is doing everything against our Constitution. Have you noticed the 4 generals that have stood up and spoke against him? Colin Powell came out.
It's not just the generals, Dr. Davis. It's leaders in all areas and in all positions, even of his own party. And now I saw a post, I believe it was earlier today, that says some of the top leaders in the Republican Party are trying to find a way to distance themselves from him before the election. Listen, let me tell you all something. We can no longer sit by and allow him to disrespect our country, disrespect all that we have worked for, the small accomplishments that we've made. We haven't made no big accomplishments, but we have made some small ones.
Right.
And we can't allow him to continue to just disregard us. Now, I'm wondering and waiting to see what they're going to do in Oklahoma, where he's planning to go and have his first rally on Juneteenth anniversary, right at the place where they burned down the properties and the buildings of African American peoples, the banks and the homes and the businesses, and they killed people there because the blacks had become powerful and had formed their own associations, formed their own conglomerates, and were doing well and was prospering in the midst of what was going on. And yet they burned them down. They put them out of business. They killed them and they slaughtered them. And yet he's got the audacity to go on Juneteenth celebration day to hold his rally in the same area where this happened. All that is a slap in the face to us as African Americans. And I'm waiting to see. I'm waiting to see what the hell the black folk there and the other folk are going to do to come. Listen. I'm about ready to get me some buses together and take some folk and let's take a ride and let's go up there. Listen, do I have anybody with me? Those of y'all who are watching us on Facebook, watching us on YouTube, just send me a message, send me an email, send me a text, do me a comment, send me a thumbs up or something. Listen, we have got to come together. I need you. I need you to rally behind us so that we can do what we need to do. We can't do it by ourselves. United we
That's right.
Divided we fall. And oh, Dr. Davis, we've got to get on top of this. We've got to stay on top of it. We've got to push it. We got to keep our foot on the gas. We've got to keep forward. We can't accept mediocrity. Listen. You may not be able to march, but you can get in the car and ride. You may not be able to ride, but you can invite folk and you can encourage other folk to be supportive. You may not be able to do that, but you can throw your weight behind us. You can throw your support behind us. You can help us, support us. Because it's going to take all of us if we're going to be successful.
That's right.
Challenging our legislators. Next week we'll have Dr. and she's a senator. Dolores Kelly will be sharing with us on our show next week. We're going to talk about some of the disparities in the laws and injustice that affect our community. We're going to be talking about that. We're bringing our leaders. We're bringing our leaders to the show. And I know you, those of y'all who know me know I don't stop. Once I get on a roll, I keep on pushing. I shake the tree and I rake the leaves. But we are on our way somewhere. I want you to email us. Our email address is up on the screen. Email us and let us know that you plan to be with us in our Drive Along demonstration rally that's going to be happening on June the 28th, the last Sunday in June. We're going to start at 2 p.m. Hopefully, we'll have all the rest of the information in by the time we do our show next week, and flyers will be available. Notifications will be there. But listen, I need you to come. Bring your cars. Bring your pickup trucks. Bring your vans. We reached out to bus companies. We're reaching out to others, to other businesses. We need to make a stand and to make a statement. And the only way we can do it is if we all stand together. This time, it might be my child, but the next it might be your child.
That's right.
None of us are exempt.
That's right.
We have to stand. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. And I don't know.
Right.
But I'm sick and tired of being the last hired. I'm sick and tired of being the first fired. I'm sick and tired, Dr. Davis. I'm sick and tired. But all I know is we're working on it.
Yes, sir.
Our time is about up. Any final words you have, Dr. Davis?
Well, I want our listeners and our people that are pulling for us, be encouraged, be safe, and continue to push voters registration. That's very important. We've got to push voters registration because once again, the next time it could be one of our sons and daughters in that situation. And so we don't want that. We want to move ahead and continue to move that we can get things done here in America because we already got support around the world. I mean, around the world, people are marching and protesting on behalf of America. So we've got to get involved that we may do things and get it done here in America. Thank you, sir, Dr. Mason.
Well, Once again, to those who are watching us, thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in. Listen, we like for you to like us on our Facebook page, set the little notification, share it with family and friends. Those who are watching on YouTube, hit the notice button, the ring button, so that you'll be notified whenever we come on. And for those who need to contact us, reach out to us at our email address. I want to hear from you. Let us know what you think about the talk show. Let us know how you think we're doing. And if you have any suggestions, let us know about that. We'll even take your constructive criticism. All we're trying to do is talk about issues that are relevant to our community. We're trying to be informative. We're trying to be engaging. And we're trying to make a difference. Until next week, we'll see you. I'm Reverend Mason. I've been your host on Let's Talk About It.